Hello and welcome to the Bowling University studios from the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas. I'm Gerald Morrow and I'll be your host for this episode. Thanks for joining us. If you're joining the Profit Break for the first time, welcome. We're glad you're here. Give us 15 minutes and you'll be on your way to improving your profitability. On today's show, we're going to talk with Nicole Krug, who will be one of our presenters at Bowl Expo. Nicole is the founder of Socialite, which helps small business owners produce successful online results through marketing strategies. Today, she is joining us to share a sneak peek about her session at Expo, Drive Guests to Your Website by Leveraging Google Search Features. So, Nicole, thank you for joining us today and being on the Profit Break.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be here, and I can't wait to see everybody down in sunny Orlando.
I know Orlando's going to be awesome, But today we're going to be talking about your session and this whole idea of Google. Google can just really overwhelm some people. So before we jump into a lot of details about your session, who should really attend your session?
This is a great session for bowling center owners or people that are working on the marketing of these bowling centers. Most business owners aspire to have their websites ranking on Google just because it sounds like a great thing to do, right? But not everybody realizes just how much ranking well on Google can impact whether somebody will walk through the door in the next 30 minutes. As an example, a lot of people that are doing mobile searches are often primed to take an action. They're just trying to find things like your hours, your phone number to see if there's even a lane available or if it's a wait list. And so ensuring information like this, making sure it's really easy to find, can actually make a big difference into how your day might go. And if people are going to decide to come to you, or if your competitors' information is easier to find and they can get to that.
Awesome. So a lot of great information there as far as who should attend your session. Because some people are like, hey, I don't mess with that web and that whole thing. It's just a fad, that whole Google thing. But you mentioned one thing right there about making your information easy to find. So when you say that, kind of break that down a little bit for us.
So there's two real things to consider here. One is, I mentioned phone number. Address is always a big deal, of course. Some people are going to be looking for rates to see, whether they're competitive shopping or just making sure it fits for the budget for the evening. And so knowing what it is people want from you, and how you know that is you think about all the phone calls you get and what kind of questions they're asking. Making those top pieces of information very easy to find on the front page of your website, maybe even up in the top of the header, that is key for making it an easy experience for users. But when we're talking in terms of Google, we're also talking about bots and understanding how that processes information. And what you may or may not have really internalized is these days when you're doing searches for Google, that they are doing more and more to answer questions themselves right on their own pages. Think of the time that you've said, hey, I want to go to a Mexican restaurant near me. And they just give you a list and there's phone numbers and menus and everything right there that you can get the information you need without actually clicking over to the website. And so one of the things that we're going to talk about as well is making it easy for your users, as well as setting up information so Google can process it and give that information like your address and phone number out, even if somebody never makes it to your website.
So we want to make sure our users can find it, but also just as importantly, if I get this correctly, is Google being able to find it. So that way they can either get the information they need, get to your website. But how challenging is it to get this beast called Google to find your information for your business?
So it is kind of stunning to realize that Google has more than 200 different factors that they use to organize search results. And so that can certainly make your eyes glaze over, but there are shortcuts that you can use, like creating something like a Google My Business profile. So there's a hard and there's an easy way to do some things.
So you kind of just blew my head there with 200 search factors. So, I mean, are you going to go through all of these, or what's kind of, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, 200 search factors. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Even website technical people, their eyes will glaze over when you get into the web, all the different factors. But and I bring it up because it's important to realize that you think, okay, well, Google understands things and they just need my address, right? But there's going to be content. They are going to absolutely pass judgment on your website. They want to know how old it is, when the last time you updated it, how quickly it takes to load, because we all have the attention span of goldfish these days. And so if a site is taking more than 5 or 6 seconds to load, that's a bad experience and you're probably going to rank badly for it. And so having a context of some of the things that they are looking at is just helpful in setting up your website, making it easy to process, and especially creating a good mobile experience, because if it is not mobile friendly, it's not going to rank.
Awesome. That's a ton of information to unpack there. I know for our members and our viewers that are going to be watching. I kind of have a question in there. We're talking about our website and all this stuff. If you don't have a website, can you use Facebook as your website? Or is that not a good idea?
So there's one thing in the way that Facebook changes things on the drop of a hat. And so when you are putting your presence in the hands of Mark Zuckerberg, you can only do what he wants you to do. And so it is definitely, don't get me wrong, it's a good idea to have a Facebook presence. But one of the things like having a website is that it gives you your own home base that you can control, and nobody else can change things without your say-so. And so Facebook is okay, but it's harder to get out some of that information, like making it really easy to find your hours, talking about your leagues, any of those kind of details that you would want for people to know. That's going to be harder to put on Facebook, because even if it's buried in your About section, most people aren't going to necessarily dig through that.
So you heard it there. Facebook's great, but we got to have our website to have our own piece of the real estate out there on the internet. And then going back to this whole Google thing, I know you're going to be with us at Expo, and I know you're going to share some tips, but you mentioned Google My Business. What kind of tips are you going to be sharing with us at Expo that you don't have to give them all away, but if you could give us one or two to kind of, hey, if there's one or two things I would be looking to do, these would be it.
Absolutely. So some of the things that we have to realize is that it's Google's world. We're just trying to survive and play in it. But if you want to thrive in that world, it means you have to play by their rules. And so they have a bunch of tools, things like Webmaster Tool, sometimes it's called Search Engine Console, Google My Business, they have Google Snippets, they have Google Stories, they have all kinds of different things that you can use. We will definitely cover how some of these can impact the way to rank and which ones are easier to do and are going to help you get the most bang for your buck.
Awesome. So there's a lot of tools, a lot of tips. So while it's Google's world, we just kind of have to learn how to use the tools they provide for us, correct?
Absolutely, because it seems onerous sometimes and it seems like an extra step, but it is essentially, if you are setting things up, you're helping them process your information so that you can get out there too. So knowing those rules and knowing that can give you a shortcut to help you show up with or ahead of your competitors that may not be doing some of these things.
So a lot of stuff, good tips, good information. We want to make sure our competitors, we're ahead of them on those Google searches. So as we wrap up, I want to thank you, Nicole. We look forward to having you at Bowl Expo in June, and you're going to share plenty of more Google tips. So thank you for being with us today, Nicole. We hope that everybody will join Nicole for her session. You don't want to miss her session at Bowl Expo, Tuesday, June 27th in Orlando, Florida. And now if you want to, as we wrap up this edition of the Profit Break, remember, when your focus is on growing people, people will grow your business. If you're ready to start improving your profitability, you can reach us at any time at education@bpaa.com. This episode, as well as other previous Profit Break episodes, are available 24/7 for you and your team at bowlinguniversity.net. Plus, new episodes are available every month, so mark your calendar, watch your email, join us on Facebook to hear about the latest episodes. Until then, I'm Gerald Morrow. Remember, do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. We'll see you next time.